Ah, what a great day. I left my coffee inside. Oh, well, this is a fantastic day. Today we're going to talk about, what's the difference between a paid masterclass and a free masterclass? And I love this topic because this is how we build not only how we build our business this way, but we were also able to go forward and help others build their businesses using the exact same strategy. And this is really moves me because after working with 15 for the past 15 years that I've been working with private coaches and throughout the United States and other parts of the world, and so far according to my strategy, a little bit over 1900 coaches, we were able to categorize the different struggles that they all are going through and the levels in which they're working. And then I was able to categorize it all and write a book called The Five Levels of Entrepreneurial Growth. Why? Because the entrepreneurship is a journey that you got to go through, right? So we wrote the book, and we wrote it in an instructional format. There is, a little bit of my own ADD allowed me to be able to write it in a way that I believe that other people that are running through their businesses would rather have the instructions given to them. So it was more like a instructional based framework in this writing, so that it has and it contains the framework. So in other words, every chapter begins with, it's an explanation, and then it goes right down into the checklist of the things that you got to do in order to be able to achieve the next level. Why is that? Because we all have an idea. For example, the level one entrepreneur, which is the professional, and we're going to categorize each one of them. Level one is the professional. He's the one who's still out there, who wants to launch, has 10, 15, 20 years worth of experience, maybe in corporate America, and now he says, I want to take this out there to the market. So he's looking to find a place in the market. But what I'm going to say to you is, instead of finding a place in the market, what you want to do is you want to find your positioning. What is my position within this market? I'm already here. I've been in this industry for 10, 15 years. Now, how do I position myself in this industry? Not like an expert, because there's a lot of experts out there right now, thanks to AI. But you want to position yourself as the authority in what it is that the problem that you're solving, your delivery. So you want to make sure that you focus on that, the positioning. Number two, you want to make sure that you position your message. Your message must be specific, must be inclusive and exclusive at the same time. What do I mean by that? Exclusive, I mean that your message should also tell the world who you're not willing to work with, or you're not going to be working with. So you want to make sure that the language is that specific. And then is the value. What is the value that you bring to the transaction? Okay, so you want to talk about that. So anyhow, what I did is I broke it down, because each one of the levels has all three of those categories, because each level advances upon the prior level. So you need to always make sure that you are progressing. Now, for example, we go from the professional, we go to the which is level one, the professional, what I call the hustler, the doer. We go to the self-employed. Why is that? Because you went from launching, now you know your message, now you know your positioning in your market, and you know the value of what you bring in, the solution you bring to the market. So now you move up, now you start earning income, now you move up to the self-employment. So now you start generating some kind of an income from your own growth in the journey. So, and then you start bringing a couple of people, maybe one executive assistant in to help you manage your calendar and things like this. And then we start creating SOPs. Then we go to level number three, which is the small business. This is the manager level. This is what we call the management level, where you have to learn those skills, because now you're starting to grow your business. Level four is entrepreneurship, and entrepreneurship just changes the entire game, because you have already created all these different things in place. Now, in the book is written with 10 essential levels, and basically what we call characteristics. What are the mistakes that you need to avoid? What are the things that you definitely must check off before you can move on to the next level, or maybe what you're missing? So you want to make sure you do that. Now, to the theme about today, which is, what's the difference between a paid masterclass and a free masterclass? And this is important, because all of us actually get an opportunity to see that that we need to position ourselves in the market. Okay, so we all agree with that. Now, if everybody sees you as an expert, then you're just like everybody else. You need to have people see you as the authority. Now, how do we do that? Well, we do that by making sure that we position ourselves correctly in the marketplace. The best way to do that is to hold some kind of a workshop. Yes, a masterclass, a workshop, or a webinar. Why is that? Because when you do that, then it puts you in front of your audience. You have to deliver the content. But before your audience gets there, you're going to have a little nurture sequence going so that when they finally arrive, they already know a little bit more about you. Now, Google did a study some time back, and they said that, most people, most purchases today only happen, what they call it up with the 7-11-4 rule. People must consume 7 hours of your content. You got to have 11 touch points and in four different platforms in order for you to have gained their trust. So imagine that. So if we're going to do consuming, if we're going to be nurturing the people that are coming to us, we have to help them to consume some of our content. So we nurture that relationship. When they finally get to this masterclass with us, we get to demonstrate our knowledge. We get to demonstrate our ability to be able to solve their problem. So that's what we're doing in a masterclass. And when it is paid, if they're willing to pay to have a solution for the problem, then you have an audience worth of people that are willing to pay for a solution for the problem, which those are the buyers, right? So we have them right there in front of us. So the difference between the two, when you have a free masterclass, you're going to have a lot of people that are tire kickers, a lot of people that are not committed to the solution of the problem. You want to make sure that you have a solution for the people that are going to be in the room that are willing to pay for that solution. That is critical. Okay. So we talk about that in the book. And each one of the levels, actually, you can use the exact same method in each one of the levels to advance. So they want to do that. And then the three questions. We talked about this a couple of days ago. What are the three questions that you need to ask yourself if you're the level one professional, you're looking to launch out there? And the very first one is, what is that one thing that you will be passionate to teach about, that you're going to be able to, teach and deliver your heart out for the next 90 minutes, that somebody's going to say, wow, I took so many notes. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're going to teach something that people are going to take notes on. Number two, that they're going to be willing to pay $97 for the solution that you're going to give them. Okay, that is critical and essential. And number three, make sure that you do deliver what they're looking for. Okay, this is critical for us to be able to do. Okay, so the one thing that we want to do is and thirdly, when you're doing your nurturing, you also want to remember that instead of talking about testimonials, oh, my client did this, my client did this, because people are going to compare themselves, because they're not at the authority level where they stop comparing. They're still comparing to each other. So what you want to do is, instead of telling the testimonials, how about if you break that into a framework and a teaching method? Okay, so now I want to invite you. We have a masterclass coming up, and I actually want to invite you. To come to it as well, because there are three things that we're going to talk about there in there. Okay, how to frame your authority in the market. That's one. How do you position yourself, in the market so that people see you as the authority? That's number one. And the second thing that we're going to talk about in this upcoming masterclass is. We're going to talk about what to expect. What are the, if I do this, Ruben, what can I expect? What are the KPIs? And then what is the data tell me about how can I be successful with what I am going to bring to the market? And number three is how to protect that IP. Okay, that intellectual property of yours. How do we create the frameworks so that it protects the context, but you can still show the content? Okay, so it's pretty cool how we're going to do that. So those are the three things that we're going to go through in the upcoming masterclass, and we're going to be able to help you there. So remember that there's going to be a link somewhere around me. Go ahead and click it, register. We'll see you in the masterclass. We're going to go through all these three secrets. We're going to show you how you can be successful by positioning yourself in your market with your IP, with your own intellectual property. How are you going to be able to position yourself in the market? How to let the market know that you exist, that you're there, that you have the solution, and at the same time exclude all the people you don't want to work with. And then thirdly, what is the value of that one thing that you are delivering? What is the value of the solution? Why are people going to look at you and say, okay, that's the person that I want, for them to be able to come towards me, and that I feel attracted to, that I want them to solve my problem. Right. So anyhow, those are the three things that we're going to cover during the masterclass. Make sure that you register. I'll put the link in here as soon as we're done with this, and then and then we will see you at the masterclass. All right. That's it for us for today, guys. Have a great day, everybody.